Hey everyone, how are you? I outside today. Wanted to give you guys a quick update on. I don't know how quick it'll be, but wanted to give you an update on how things are going. It's a beautiful Sunday. It's Mother's Day here in the U.S. The weather is divine and like the perfect spring day. Beautiful. Nice to see all of this great loving energy coming from Mother Earth today. Wishing all of the women in my life, or all of the mamas in my life, happy Mother's Day. Thank you to the women in my life for caring for me and nurturing me. And I think that is really the sweet spot of a mama. So thank you for mothering me, especially since my mom passed in 2016. I'm just grateful to have so many of you watching out for me and checking in and protecting me and all the varying things each of you do. That's just so exceptional. So let me give you a little physical update, what's been going on since we chatted last. I think in the last video I was sharing with you guys the really amazing news that I'd heard back from the oncologist, and that our next step, we all agreed, would be to do a laparoscopy to surgically look on the inside and see kind of the state of things. We've not scheduled that yet. I have a vacation coming up, and we'll be in Europe for a period of time, and so the oncologist has given me a bit of a reprieve, thank goodness, on doing chemo. But what is happening is, I think I mentioned this in the last video, my spleen is slightly enlarged, and the hematologist wanted to get some tests done to identify whether or not, or just to understand like what's happening or what's causing it. So I had an ultrasound done this week, and all blood flow in and out of the spleen is operating optimally. So that is not the reason the spleen is enlarged. So I think that means we move to medicine. I think it's an injection, but we're waiting to understand kind of next steps. We're scheduled to see the oncologist on Tuesday, and we're actually scheduled for an infusion, but which obviously stands for chemo. So I don't know. I don't know if that will happen. It's not. As far as I know, it's not meant to happen. But sometimes they will just book it so you have a chair just in case. The other thing that happened this week was I did get some blood work back from, this is the genetic testing blood work that I've mentioned before, that is ultimately testing a Signatera or Natera blood test, and actually takes, they take a genetic sampling of the tumors they took out of your system from surgery, and they're looking for microparticles of those tumors in your bloodstream. The idea being, is it metastasizing? Is it moving around? And so you get like a numerical value back. The higher it is, the more, I believe it's meant to say the higher it is, the more cancer that's prevalent. Well, I started my first blood test in the spring of 2022, right after I got done with my first 12 rounds of chemo, and my number was very low, 0.01 kind of a thing, so that everybody felt really good about that, and I was, pretty much not cured, but, in a really good place, and we would keep an eye on it. And then you guys know I've had a number of reoccurrences, but and so I think maybe in there's 0.2s and maybe a 0.3 and whatever. But this week the score was a 4. And I was like, what? Not a 0.4, but a 4. So that freaked me out a bit. I took a screenshot of it and I sent it to the oncologist. Obviously, we'll talk about it on Tuesday. I think if they were terrified of that number, they would have called me right away. What we found in our kind of second opinion journey was one oncologist in particular said that blood test, we don't quite know what it means yet. It's not really always conclusive, and so we're not always sure what it's pointing to. And I remember him saying, when they released the test, it was like the train left the station, but none of us knew where it was headed. It's not exactly, or I shouldn't say not exactly, it's not a consistent read every single time. So that gives me hope, but that's what it is. So we'll see what they say on Tuesday. The other thing is, physically, I've been dealing with some soreness in with my urinary tract still. I've lost probably another 7 or 8 pounds since April. Today or last night, I stepped on the scale and was surprised to see how low the number was. I don't think I've weighed this since high school or junior high. So we definitely have to get, keep on top of my nutrition. I do find that my taste is changing in a way that, like, a lot of the foods that were my comfort foods before just don't sit anymore. I don't want processed food at all, which all this stuff is good. It's just we're in the middle phase of trying to figure out what to try and what to eat, and so we're getting there. It's not like I'm not eating all day long or anything. We couldn't sustain that. And I'm still able to walk about 2 miles, when the weather's right. I think this week we had so much rain, it was kind of challenging to go every single day. But the other thing that's happening physically is both of my hips have been a bit sore, kind of like my whole pelvis area. And what I realized is, work, also on the flip side, on the positive, work has been kind of really engaging again. I'm having fun doing the work that I'm doing. I'm on like extensive phone calls, like almost 8 hours a day. And during construction, as I think I've shared with you guys, we've had a pretty massive construction project going on, and it's pretty much done at this point. But during construction, I was using a sitting room as my office, so I had the pleasure of a sofa as my chair. And I think for the last 2 weeks, I've been putting a lot of hours in and kind of getting up at the end of the day and feeling like my pelvis was somewhat on fire. We did talk to the head nurse through the oncologist about that. I can't remember if I shared this with you guys, but she said that she believes that's scar tissue, and it's very common. I've had 3 massive abdominal surgeries, and I'm kind of knitting back together. I know for Bri, it was pretty nerve-wracking, like, what is going on? Is the cancer spread? And obviously that's a reality that is, I don't think we can totally rule it out, but I love that her first thought was, based off scans and blood work, we think it's actually more likely it's scar tissue. I will say, since I started sitting on the sofa and, I kind of called the audible this week and said, I'm going to spend at least half the day on the sofa. That's made a pretty big difference, thank goodness. But definitely some hip pain and some soreness in there. So I'm working through that. Mentally, I would say the last 2 to 3 weeks has been pretty intense. And I've talked to a number of people who have also felt like, so I don't know, there's probably something in the air that we're all dealing with. But for me, there's been some stuff that's happened at work, a little bit of drama. It's all resolved itself at this point, but it's brought up some things. I think, I really feel, after talking to the head nurse with the oncologist, that cure is in sight. And I can't promise you anything. I can only tell you how it feels in my gut, and I'm going with it. That said, a couple days later, I just felt like, I just felt so tired. And sometimes you just want off the effing merry-go-round. Like, just get me off of this. Like, it's just too much. I think sometimes I'm also finding myself, putting on a brave face and muscling through some things. And, when I am also an empath, so I can feel, when I tell people my story, their fear, and I can feel, and it's like I have to process that. And I actually have to work on a way where it's not mine too. Like, I think that's kind of the bigger thing, but I'm getting there. Next step, I guess. But I just had one of those breakdown moments where I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. And I had just gotten this great news, just like, I don't want more chemo. I want my body back. I want, and I think not being on chemo these last 7, this is going to be the 8th week. It's like me again. It's actually a better version of me, because I'm really becoming the real me. But man, it's been so emotional, like crazy emotional. So I've been doing some really deep healing work really trying to get under the hood, so to speak, on what's causing this, and the desire to be perfect, and the fear, what if I'm not perfect, what happens. And this week I had a massive kind of fear uncovered or unlocked from my childhood, where I just remembered. Yeah, I think I may have shared this before, but my mother and I, and I've learned this since she's passed. I think we're very much alike in situations, and that has a tendency to kind of do one of those, I think, and can be a little oil and water at times. My mom was one of those moms in the 80s that worked a full-time job, and not everybody's mom did that. I mean, most of my friends' moms did not. And so she had a lot on her plate, and, so I can acknowledge all of that. But I think one of the big things that I learned, I have this, like, locked-in memory of a situation that happened between us, and the situation is not important. It's more the story that came from the situation that I unlocked, which was this feeling that I am not a good person. And, I said it to Brian. He's like, what? How can that be? You're like the best person I know. And I know many of you will be saying something similar. But part of that is because this is like a 6 or 7-year-old mind getting that message. I'm pretty sure my mom didn't say you're not a good person, but that is just whatever I translated it to be. And it stuck with me until now, and I'm 50. And it was a real powerful awareness to shift. It's like the lighter I feel so much lighter now as a result of knowing that story, or knowing I had that story. And so much of what I did and what I continue to do probably started out of that trauma of feeling that if I was a bad person, that I would be ejected, I would be ostracized, I'd be left alone, I'd be abandoned. And so what I do, I just made myself the most likable, loving person that other people couldn't do that with. Now, obviously, there are people out there, obviously, that don't like me, of course. It's just humanly possible. It's not possible for everybody to love you, but I've worked pretty hard at it, and the beginning of that was a trauma response for sure. But that way of being is such a part of who I am now. I don't see it changing, but almost the desperation that required me to do it is gone. It's like I just feel so much lighter, because I can see that 6-year-old. You were a great person. You of course you did what 6-year-olds did, and you made mistakes, and you did those things, and it's just really freeing. Big part of my healing is mind, body, spirit. I'm in for the whole freaking thing, you guys. Like, I'm not just healing my body. I'm healing my whole being. I want to be healed. What causes me to do these things? What caused this to happen? This brain right here can manifest anything. I am an extremely powerful person, as are you. And so what are you thinking about right now that's causing your fear or causing a reaction? I can tell you the amount of fear I carry with me every single day that I don't even feel right now is such a relief. But that fear of, like, it's almost like deep shame. Like, don't call on me because you're probably not going to like me. Don't do that, because then I'll be in front of the room and someone's not going to like me. And if someone got mad at me, I would be like, and there it is. There's the person not liking me. And someone yelled at me, and there it is. There it is. I'm not comfortable doing that. poof, like gone. And I'm sure I'll feel the reverberations like of it. I mean, this morning was a very emotional Mother's Day. Part of it thinking of my mom, some of it the pain, just some of it the sadness, just missing her, wishing she was here so I could talk to her about it. I know she'd say, Moser, love you. I'm sorry you felt that way. Oh, of course, I always loved you. It was just that feeling that I was like too much, or just someone she didn't like. It's also made me think a lot today about our daughter Kit, and I think you all know that I was carrying her and she came prematurely, and I gave birth to her, and she was delivered. I had to deliver her and she wasn't breathing, but I held her, and I was so scared to see what she looked like. She was adorable, beautiful, super tiny, quiet, calm. So glad that doctor encouraged me to hold her. Sorry, this is intense, and I apologize for anybody that's experienced something similar. I hope this is not triggering for you, but on this Mother's Day, when I celebrate myself as a mom, I'm mommy to 3 beings. Logan, Kit, and our dog, Big Red. And, you know, I've just been going through so much stuff that I haven't really thought about Kit. And I remember after losing her, you know, the cancer is just, obviously, it's ongoing, and it's so prominent in terms of things I have to do. It's just a constant thing. I guess it makes sense that I don't always think of Kit, but on this Mother's Day, I'm not feeling as good a mommy for not thinking of her. It's not something, you know, of course I can talk to Bri about Kit, but like a couple of you, and I appreciate each of you, have shared recent things about people who have had miscarriages and losses, children. Obviously, all of our losses are very different on a continuum, but I know somebody lost a child at 18, and I imagine our grief is very different, and it'll take us may take them much longer to cope and deal. But losing a child is losing a child. And it just hit me hard today, this weekend. I think just ultimately, I don't want to forget her, you know. I believe, and I'm so grateful for Brian early on saying that it's almost like a noble cause for Kit, but her coming as early as she did, and even though we lost her, it alerted us to this stage 4 cancer and how fast it was progressing. And I think if we had carried her to term, I don't know if I'd be here right now. So Brian and I always thank God that Kit saved herself for me. And in turn, I'm not going to let her action go in vain. And so I am healing myself so I can be a healer for this world. In Kit's name, amen. Whew. Just feeling all the feels today. And what am I learning right now? I'm learning the power of forgiveness. Forgiving myself. Forgiving my mom, who was just a human being, doing the best she could. recognizing that we can be feeling two things at once. I'm excited for things that are going on at work. I'm not 100% healthy right now, but I'm on my way. That that my emotions and how I'm feeling a little bit, feeling all the feels today are a little bit more up there. And after a good night's sleep, I can be in a better spot tomorrow. And I remind all of you the same. When the intense feelings come up, I'll tell you what, I'm not gonna look away, because I don't know what will release me. And yet at the same time, we talk about an executive coaching as the coach. I don't know what you need. You know what you need. And I will tell you, I need this healing to clear these old stories out, so I can really be me and make the biggest impact and help the most people that I can. To me, I define leadership as a position of service, and that is the rest of my life. I will be in service to whoever needs it. And I believe God saved me to do that work, and that is the work I'm going to do. I'm proud to say I'm a healer. I'm proud to be a mother. I'm proud of my mother's daughter. She taught me strength and resilience and a level of fight. Like I say to people, you get my Irish up, you don't know what you're in for. And that came from my mom. She taught me how to love fiercely. She also didn't always know how to say she was sorry. And so on this Mother's Day, I encourage you all to just remember the power of forgiveness and saying you're sorry. And the biggest part of that is forgiving yourself. So I love you all. I'm going to keep you posted on my appointment on Tuesday and what happens. And happy Mother's Day. Love you all. Thank you now. Bye.